There comes a time in life when you've got to decide that you will not be moved by every storm, every whisper, every disappointment, or every enemy that comes against you. Because if you don't train your mind, life will train it for you. And it won't train it in peace. It will train it in panic. If you don't train your mind, situations will dictate your emotions. People will dictate your moods, and problems will dictate your destiny. But when you train your mind to stay unbothered, you step into a place of strength that no enemy can take away. Peace is not something that falls out of the sky. Peace is not the result of everything in your life lining up just the way you want it. If that were true, nobody would ever have peace, because life is unpredictable, people are unreliable, and storms are inevitable. Peace is not the absence of trouble, it is the presence of discipline. It is a trained response. You've got to decide in your mind that no matter what comes against you, you will hold your ground and refuse to let the storm on the outside become the storm on the inside. Too many of us are waiting for life to calm down before we calm down. We say, when I get the job, I'll have peace. When the bills are paid, I'll have peace. When people stop talking about me, I'll have peace. But if your peace depends on conditions, then it isn't real peace. It's just relief. Real peace is when the storm is raging, the winds are blowing, and everything is shifting, yet your mind is anchored and your heart is steady. That kind of peace doesn't happen by chance. It happens by discipline. It happens because you've trained yourself not to give every situation access to your emotions. Training the mind is like training the body. You can't expect to lift heavy weights if you've never worked out. In the same way, you can't expect to face heartbreak, betrayal, or disappointment with calm strength if you've never practiced peace in the small things. It starts in the daily choices. It starts when you decide not to argue about everything, not to respond to every comment, not to let every delay disturb you. It's in those moments that you build the muscles of discipline so that when the big storms come, you are already prepared to remain unbothered. The reason discipline matters is because life will test you. People will provoke you. Circumstances will tempt you to lose control. And if you haven't trained your mind, you'll find yourself tossed back and forth, up and down, happy one moment and broken the next, depending on what's happening around you. But peace is when you learn to be consistent in a world that's inconsistent. Peace is when you choose stability in the middle of instability. Peace is when you've disciplined your mind to say, I will not give my power away to this situation. You can't always choose what you face, but you can always choose how you face it. That's the discipline of peace. It's the decision to step back before reacting, to breathe before responding, to think before speaking. It's knowing that your mind is too valuable, your spirit too precious, your purpose too important to be constantly thrown off balance by temporary distractions. Discipline is when you look at the chaos around you and declare, you may be loud, but you will not control me. You may be present, but you will not own me. You may be real, but you will not rule me. Peace is powerful because it protects your destiny. If you don't discipline yourself, every argument will drain you. Every delay will frustrate you. Every attack will weaken you. But when you train your mind to stay calm, you preserve your strength for what truly matters. You stop wasting energy on things that don't deserve your attention. You stop letting temporary storms distract you from eternal promises. That is why peace must be practiced daily. Speak it to yourself. Remind your mind of it. Protect it like treasure. Because the truth is, peace doesn't just happen. You build it, you train it, and you guard it. And when you do, you discover a calm that no storm can steal, a strength no trial can break, and a discipline that keeps you steady in a world full of chaos. You would never leave the front door of your house wide open, letting anybody walk in and out as they please. You would never let a stranger come into your living room, track mud across your floor, break your furniture, and steal your valuables without resisting. You guard your home because you know its value, because you recognize that it holds what is precious to you. But many people guard their house more than they guard their mind. They put locks on their doors and alarms on their windows. But they let fear, negativity, gossip, and doubt stroll right into their thoughts unchecked. Your mind is the house of your destiny. It is where your dreams live, where your faith grows, where your creativity is nurtured. And just like a house, if you leave it unguarded, intruders will come. Every insult you dwell on, every fear you entertain, Every worry you replay in your head is like leaving your door wide open. Before you know it, your peace is broken, your strength is stolen, and your hope is vandalized. That's why you've got to guard your mind as fiercely as you guard your home. Some people think they have no control over what enters their mind, but the truth is, you are the gatekeeper of your own thoughts. You can't always stop what knocks at the door, but you can decide what you let inside. Fear may knock, but you don't have to let it sit on your couch. Anger may knock, but you don't have to let it unpack its bags. Worry may knock, but you don't have to give it a room in your house. Guarding your mind is about making choices every day about what you allow to take up residence in your spirit. When you don't guard your mind, you give power to distractions. Somebody says something negative about you, and instead of brushing it off, you replay it all day long. A mistake you made yesterday keeps playing like a broken record until you've lost today's peace. That's what happens when you don't put a lock on the door of your thoughts. You wouldn't let trash pile up in your house without cleaning it out. So why let mental garbage pile up in your head or removing it? You've got to be intentional about clearing out the clutter, replacing lies with truth, and making sure your mind remains a safe place for your spirit to thrive. Guarding your mind also means being selective about who and what you let influence you. Some people drain you not because they are stronger than you, but because you gave them access they never deserved. Some environments exhaust you not because you are weak, but because you keep walking into places that rob your peace. To guard your mind is to say, I cannot let just anything or anyone shape my thinking. It means learning how to set boundaries, how to say no without guilt, how to protect the peace you fought to build. You don't need everybody's opinion. You don't need every negative headline. You don't need to carry every problem that doesn't belong to you. You need to stand guard at the door of your mind and say, only what feeds me is allowed in. Only what lifts me is allowed in. Only what aligns with my purpose is allowed in. That is how you keep your spirit strong and your peace intact. When you guard your mind like your house, you refuse to let every storm outside mess up the peace inside. The world may be chaotic, but inside your spirit, it can be calm. People may talk about you, but inside your mind, you can be unshaken. Life may bring storms, but inside your heart, you can remain steady. Guard your mind because it is the home of your future. Guard your thoughts because they are the blueprint of your destiny. Guard your peace because once it's stolen, everything else becomes vulnerable. You cannot stop the wind from blowing. You cannot stop the rain from falling. You cannot stop people from talking, nor can you stop life from throwing challenges your way. But what you can stop is the storm from raging inside of you. The power of peace is not about controlling the circumstances. It is about controlling your response to them. You cannot always choose what happens, but you can always choose how you react, and that choice makes all the difference. Some people spend their lives trying to rearrange everything around them, thinking if they can just fix the outside, they will find peace on the inside. They try to control people, manipulate situations, and chase perfection, but peace still escapes them. Why? Because true peace doesn't come from what you control. It comes from what you release. It comes from realizing that your joy cannot be tied to circumstances that shift. It comes from knowing that your hope cannot depend on people who fail. It comes from understanding that your peace is not in their hands, it's in your mind and in your heart. Life is unpredictable. One phone call can change everything. One setback can shake your plans. One betrayal can cut deep. But even in those moments, you can train yourself to respond with strength instead of panic. You can decide that the storm will not have you. You can declare, I may be in the middle of it, but I refuse to let it control me. That's the power of discipline. That's the difference between being a victim of circumstances and being a master of your response. Think about this: the same fire that melts wax hardens clay. The difference is not the fire, it's the substance. Likewise, the same trial that breaks one person can build another. The same storm that destroys one house leaves another still standing. The difference is not in the storm, it's in how it was prepared to handle it. And preparation begins in the mind. If you train your mind to hold on to peace, then when chaos comes, you won't collapse with it. Instead, you'll stand firm, not because the storm is small, but because your response is strong. You have to learn how to pause before reacting. Every battle is not worth fighting. Every insult does not require your answer. Every setback does not deserve your panic. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is remain still. Stillness is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's knowing that if you let every situation pull you, you'll be like a leaf tossed in the wind, always moving but never rooted. But when you remain still, when you choose calm, when you refuse to be shaken, you become unmovable no matter what life brings. Control is not about bending life to your will, it's about bending your will to choose peace. That means when people talk about you, you decide not to clap back but to hold your peace. When plans fall apart, you choose not to fall apart with them. When fear whispers, you drown it out with faith. You train your mind to resist the pull of chaos, to resist the urge to overreact, to resist the temptation to hand your emotions over to circumstances. That's when you begin to master the art of staying unbothered. So stop wasting energy trying to manage everything around you. Focus instead on managing yourself. Life may roar, storms may rage, people may betray, but none of it has to live inside of you. The storm can swirl outside, but inside you can stay steady. You can't stop the waves from crashing, but you can choose to ride them instead of drowning in them. That's what it means to control your response. It's not about stopping the storm, it's about stopping yourself from sinking in it. When you reach that place, you'll find a freedom you never knew was possible, because you'll realize that peace was never out there. It was always in here. Not in the hands of the world, but in the discipline of your own mind. Because every time you let someone else's actions dictate your emotions, you hand them the keys to your peace. Every time you allow disappointment to rob you of joy, you surrender power you were meant to keep. Too many people are drained, not because life is harder than they can bear, but because they are constantly giving their strength away to things that don't deserve it. You can't live unbothered if you keep putting your peace in the hands of people, circumstances, and situations that are unstable. Think about it. When someone insults you and you stew over all day, you've given them power. When a delay happens and you lose your mind with frustration, you've given the situation power. When rejection comes and you allow it to convince you that you're not worthy, you've given your past power. Power is not stolen, it's surrendered. And the moment you decide to take it back, the things that used to control, you will lose their grip. You don't need to react to everything. You don't need to answer every critic. You don't need to fight every battle. Some things are distractions disguised as problems. They come to pull you out of character, to drain your focus, to waste your time. The enemy knows he doesn't have to destroy you if he can just distract you. If he can get you so busy fighting small battles, you'll never have the energy to fight the real ones. That's why you've got to learn how to say, I'm not giving my peace to this. I'm not giving my power to this. I'm not giving my mind to this. There is strength in silence. There is power in letting some things go unanswered. Not because you are weak, but because you know your value. You know your time is too precious to waste on things that don't move you forward. You know your peace is too costly to trade for temporary drama. Every time you refuse to be provoked, you are building a wall of strength around your spirit. Every time you walk away from foolishness, you are reinforcing your authority over your own mind. Stop giving your power to people who didn't give it to you. Stop letting someone's opinion outweigh God's truth about you. Stop letting one delay convince you that destiny is canceled. Stop giving more attention to the negative than the positive. Your mind is too powerful, your spirit too important, your calling too great to keep giving away what was meant to protect you. When you take your power back, you stop living on emotional roller coasters. You stop being up when life is good and down when life is hard. You stop letting other people's moods dictate your day. You begin to live steady, grounded, consistent. That's the mark of someone who has trained their mind to be unbothered. Because no matter what's happening around them, they know nothing can happen to them that God hasn't already equipped them to handle. Don't waste your energy on battles that don't matter. Don't waste your peace on people who don't matter. Don't waste your joy on problems that time will solve anyway. Learn how to choose your battles wisely. Save your strength for the fights that build your future, not the ones that feed your ego. Save your focus for the challenges that align with your purpose. not the ones that only distract you. The moment you realize you don't have to give everything a response, you'll walk lighter. The moment you realize you don't have to explain yourself to everyone, you'll rest easier. The moment you decide to keep your power, time, you'll discover a freedom you didn't even know you had. Because the truth is, you were never meant to live drained. You were meant to live disciplined. And discipline means refusing to hand your peace to things that don't deserve it. So when life throws storms at you, it is not the storm itself that determines your outcome. It is the anchor of your focus. The wind may blow, the rain may fall, the waves may rise. But if your focus is fixed, you will not be moved. Most people are not defeated by the storm outside. They are defeated by the storm inside. They let fear dominate their thoughts, doubt poison their faith, and distractions blur their vision. If you want to remain unbothered in any situation, you must discipline your focus. What you look at, what you think on, what you meditate on, that's what shapes your reality. You cannot focus on everything at the same time. If your eyes are on the storm, you will sink. If your eyes are on the distractions, you will stumble. If your eyes are on the pain, you will live in misery. But if your eyes are fixed on your purpose, you will keep walking even through the fire. If your eyes are fixed on hope, you will find strength in the middle of the battle. Focus does not mean you don't see the problem. It means you refuse to let the problem become bigger than your purpose. Distractions are designed to wear you out. The enemy doesn't need to defeat you if he can just keep you scattered. He'll use little irritations, unexpected delays, sudden offenses, and emotional triggers to pull your mind in every direction. And if you're not careful, you'll end up spending all your energy on things that don't even matter. But when your focus is locked in, you don't chase every distraction. You don't stop for every detour. You don't waste time explaining yourself to people who don't even understand your assignment. You keep pressing toward the mark. Discipline of the mind is like training the body. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice. Every time you choose not to feed a negative thought, you are strengthening your focus. Every time you refuse to respond to nonsense, you are guarding your peace. Every time you redirect your energy towards something that builds instead of something that drains, you are training your spirit to stay steady. And little by little, your mind learns not to panic when problems come. Instead, it becomes anchored in faith, hope, and purpose. Focus also requires you to know what to let go of. You cannot hold on to everything and still move forward. Some thoughts have to die so your destiny can live. Some relationships have to end so your peace can grow. Some habits have to be broken so your future can be built. When you keep carrying distractions, you end up so heavy that you can't walk freely. But when you release what doesn't align, you create space for clarity, peace, and power. Staying unbothered is not about pretending life doesn't hurt. It's about refusing to let pain steal your focus. It's about waking up every morning and choosing where your energy will go. You can either give it to the negativity around you, or you can invest it into the vision ahead of you. You can either waste it on gossip, arguments, and complaints, or you can pour it into growth, purpose, and progress. The choice is yours, but the fruit of your life will always reflect what you chose to focus on. So set your mind like a flint. Lock your eyes on the promise, not the problem. Train your heart to see beyond the storm and into the sunrise. And when everything around you tries to pull you off course, stand still and remind yourself, I will not be distracted. I will not be broken. I will not give my peace away. My focus is my power, and as long as I guard it, no situation can shake me. Peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is the presence of power in the midst of them. Too often, we wait for life to calm down before we decide to be calm. We wait for people to act right before we settle our spirit. We wait for circumstances to improve before we allow ourselves to breathe. But peace doesn't come from the outside, it comes from the inside. And until you learn how to cultivate it within, you will always be tossed back and forth by whatever happens around you. When you train your mind to live in peace, you refuse to be held hostage by chaos. The bills may not be paid yet, but you're not losing sleep. The relationship may not have healed yet, but you're not walking around bitter. The job may not have come through yet, but you're not giving in to despair. Why? Because you've chosen to protect your peace. And when you protect your peace, you protect your power. Peace is the soil where clarity grows, where wisdom flows, where strength is replenished. Without peace, even small battles feel impossible. But with peace, even giants look conquerable. Guarding your peace means setting boundaries. It means learning how to say no without guilt, how to walk away without bitterness, how to stand firm without apology. You can't invite chaos into your environment and then be surprised when you lose your calm. Some of you keep letting negative voices pour into your mind and then wonder why your soul feels heavy. Some of you keep revisiting old wounds and then wonder why your spirit feels broken. If you want peace, you have to stop feeding what steals it. Peace is also a choice. You don't always get to choose what happens to you, but you do get to choose how you respond. Every time you respond with patience instead of anger, you're choosing peace. Every time you release instead of revenge, you're choosing peace. Every time you pray instead of panic, you're choosing peace. And that choice builds strength in your soul. The more you choose it, the easier it becomes to live in it. There will always be reasons to worry, reasons to fear, reasons to lash out. But peace doesn't deny reality, it rises above it. It says, I see the storm, but I will not drown in it. It says, I hear the negativity, but I won't absorb it. It says, I feel the pain, but I won't let it poison me. That's not weakness, that's strength under control. That's power that refuses to be provoked. That's maturity that refuses to be shaken. The truth is, peace is a weapon. It disarms your enemies because they expect you to break and you don't. It confuses the enemy because he thought chaos would crush you, but it only made you calmer. It frustrates those who try to stir you up because they can't find the button to push anymore. Peace is protection. It keeps your heart soft, your mind clear, your spirit steady. Without it, you are vulnerable. With it, you are unstoppable. So learn to cultivate it, guard it, and carry it with you everywhere you go. Don't leave your peace in the hands of situations you can't control. Don't give your peace to people who don't know how to handle it. Anchor yourself in it until no matter what comes against you, you can look at it and say, this will not move me. This will not break me. I will not surrender my peace. Because when you hold on to peace, you hold on to power, and no storm can steal what's rooted inside of you.